Man, oh man, these apps are driving you crazy, man. I apologize for the tardiness. I apologize for the tardiness. Y'all get in here. It's Friday, Platinum Roast. Y'all know exactly what's finna go down. Y'all know exactly what's finna go down. Straight up. I give y'all some leeway with the comments because I already know it's gonna be a lot of BGS sycophants in this motherfucker that's not gonna say nothing. You know how this shit goes. You know how this shit go, man. Tan, what up? Brother Zeke, what up? RG, what up? King Des, what up, man? We go through every word of this shit with a fine tooth comb. I didn't go through it looking for no highlights. Lion, what up, man? I did not go through this looking for no highlights. Now we going over this with a fine tooth comb. Damn, you in South Korea? You deployed or you just traveling? You know, you just chilling. Hope you stay safe regardless. Right? He had debated me. Yeah, he had debated me, the mumble rapper. Last year I was a mumble rapper. This year you agree to debate me. Kind of strange, isn't it? Y'all don't remember that last year when I was a mumble rapper? When he made the video talking about how I'm a mumble rapper? Yeah, he debated me. Yep, he debated me. I'm about to be streaming on my website. Yeah, I'm about to be streaming on my website. We had a lot of technical difficulties with Patreon. Patreon is a good site just to leave videos that is kind of unrefined. You know what I'm saying? So I guess the way we go rock it is that we'll just, have the live streams that's live on my website. And then maybe I can throw a recording of them after they done, after they process. I can throw them over on the Patreon too. Yeah, we debated already. Yeah, I got the email about Tie City. I got that. I would like a little bit more to work with, but yeah, I got it. Thanks though. Thanks, Nico. Jake the Snake, what up? Yeah, we had debated already. So if y'all are, because it was on my Cheesemo's channel. It was on my Cheesemo's channel. Ain't that weird? If you call BGS an agent, they'll call you a conspiracy theorist. But ain't that weird that y'all are subscribed to my Cheesemo and he had put it out there in advance that I was gonna be debating him over on his channel, but then the notification didn't seem to reach nobody. Now, mind you, this the same nigga that the first time I ever roasted his ass, they cut my stream 39 minutes in. And everybody I tell about that, they always say, man, I ain't never seen that happen to nobody on YouTube. And the people that bear witness to it say the same thing. I never seen that happen to nobody on YouTube. Nobody ever seen it ever since. Tech Boy, what up? They wasn't even during the fucking the pandemic era. They wasn't even cutting motherfucking streams that was saying conspiracy theories about the goddamn virus or the vaccine that quick. They was letting them rock their whole streams, then taking them down for disinformation later. They cut me 39 minutes into that shit. Yeah, that's right, Tan. You the mumble rapper, and yeah, and 100. Yeah, yeah. Marcus is the kid in the back of the classroom. Yep, yep, yep. Amar, what up, man? Yep. I wonder how many BGS sycophants is in here right now. If y'all are, man, glad to see y'all. You know, my only question for y'all for the BGS sycophants, the last of them that's left over, how far are y'all gonna follow this man over the cliff? Right? How far y'all gonna follow this man over the cliff? How many times do this man have to show you, because he's supposed to be doing content for black men, right? How many times does this man have to show you that he's more interested in ideology and orthodoxy than he is in helping black men? That he's more interested in burnishing his own ego than he is in providing solutions or at least insight to you, right? Hey, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. Wrong button. I meant this one. Doug Dissonant writes, BGS was trying his damnness to pontificate over moderator. Salute to the moderator and you for maintaining the frame. Hey, it's very draining to fuck with that nigga. I ain't gonna lie. It's very draining. It's very draining. It's very draining. All right, so without further ado, let's go to the stream in question. This was 2 nights ago on Wednesday. For those of y'all that might have missed it. Okay. I think I did. I did say something about it. But I think I said something about it like no, you know what? No, I didn't, because I didn't even do those streams the week leading up to it. You're right. But let's go.
.5 minutes each. You also get 5 minutes each rebuttal back and forth. You guys ready? Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Let's go. You guys get 5 minutes each, and you guys can salvo back and forth until each individual issue or topic is resolved. Here we go. Hold on. Let me press play on that. Where's my time? Okay. 5 minutes apiece. I'll flash the timer on the screen, so you guys, so the viewers and we're 5 minutes apiece. What up, Kwame? I see you in the building. And this, when you guys are about 30, got 30 seconds left in your round, that's your warning sign. Please let me know you have landed your plane. So I don't want to interrupt anyone's train of thought or anything else like that. Please, no ad hominem, no personal attacks. Um, a little bit of snarkiness and condescension in responses is allowable and to some degree expected.
Oh, before I even get into the meat of this, in the spirit of what King Des just said, I'm coming back and I'm roasting the fuck out of Edward Anderson. Okay? I'm coming back later and I'm roasting the fuck out of Edward Anderson. This might be it for this nigga. I'm crucifying this nigga today. I'm crucifying this nigga today. This is just a warm up for later. Hit the cash app. This is just a warm up for later.
That being said, let me roll the timer back. And we've agreed backstage. Like I said, I have a few questions. If you guys getting a slump with the Iran thing, that you guys can salvo back and forth. We'll play by ear. We're trying to be here a little under 2 hours. Let me remove this from studio. That being said, Tito, opening salvo is all yours, sir.
Yes, recently during a live stream on Sunday night, like we regularly do, there was a juncture in the broadcast when my colleague BGS made the assertion, quote unquote, that Iran is going nowhere. And so, given the context of what we were speaking about, it can only be construed that my colleague BGS is somehow, I wouldn't say hoping that there are many American casualties, but hoping that there is, I guess tactical setbacks in the conflict, the growing conflict with Iran, to perhaps harm the you got a lot of people doing that nowadays. I understand that you are perfectly entitled not to like the president. That's fine. Everybody don't have to like everybody, but liking you can't hate American servicemen. You can't do that. That's crazy work right there. For you to make it even appear like you care less about the lives of American servicemen, and you place Trump's downfall in front of that. That's crazy right there. But it's a lot of people that's like that. Republicans in the midterms. Now, and remember, this ain't no conspiracy theory. BGS is always the one with that on that Colonel McBride shit, talking about that he hangs around or he talks to people that's in the UN. He's the one that says that. So if he says that he talks to people in the UN, you know what they say in the Bible? Never shall two walk down the road lest they be in agreement. So he has the agreement of the globalists, and he does hope that the U.S. military fails because he wants business as usual. He hopes that the Republicans fail in the midterms because he wants business as usual. Never can two walk down the road lest they be in agreement. Remember that. He's the one that said that he talks to people in the UN. And yes, Ed, yes, Ed, yes, the incel whisperer, yes, Ed. I don't want to hear no sympathy shit, no peace talk. The motherfucker had my you will see. When I come back with this roast of this nigga, you will see the type of bitch assness that he was on, and you're gonna be like, oh, I see why he roast him now. You will see. Adrian Stefano, thanks for the cash app. Don't let that brother be alone. You will see. You will see. Even though my colleague BGS claims to be politically agnostic, it is undeniable that in the past he has defended many Democratic positions, many Democratic lines of reasoning, and even individual Democratic politicians and office holders. So, in the context of his record on speaking in different matters about different Democrats, it can only be construed that it is his desire that there are significant setbacks in this conflict with Iran. Now, with people that think like this, I cannot understand why they don't see the necessity for these strikes. And for people who think like this, who do tend to come down on the Democratic side of things, I don't understand also how they can't tell that this is just a Republican administration having to clean up garbage that was left by our 39th president, Jimmy Carter. I yield the balance of my time to my colleague, BGS.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete...
Machismo is thoroughly
Okay, well
monetized.
played. Give me 1 second. Let me set the time. BGS, the rebuttal is all yours. Let me restart the clock, and all yours, sir.
You know what? It's funny. It's a funny thing, man, because when a long time ago in 2016, when I told everybody Hillary Clinton would lose because of what she did in Benghazi and the DOD would not elect her, okay, a lot of Democrats got upset with me, okay, a lot of them, a lot of Democrats told me.
Now he's trying to gaslight you right here. He's trying to gaslight you that to make it look like just because you prognosticate an election and you don't think that your side can win, that's like that means that you don't have allegiance to that side. He trying to gaslight me, Machismo, and everybody that was listening. Just because you predict that a candidate is gonna win, you can vote for a candidate and not think that they gonna win. So what difference does that make, BGS? But let's go.
I was a conservative. I love Republicans and yada yada yada. I was not a liberal. I was a fascist, all kind of stuff. Okay. And then when I knew that Donald Trump would lose because of COVID, okay, what is the dumbass listening to
he didn't lose because of COVID. You know why he lost? He lost because of the mail-in ballots. The COVID facilitated the mail-in ballots that facilitated election fraud. Let's just be real here.
Reverse what Obama did, which was getting rid of the gain of function. Okay. And he reversed it. And guess what? You got COVID. Okay. Everybody knows it. Okay. And I knew that he would lose. Okay. And when he did, a lot of the other people got upset with me. And then on the last term, when I told you that Joe Biden couldn't run, is because he was senile, and basically that Kamala Harris was not a good candidate, and she would be terrible and she would lose. Now I got other people on the Democratic side, the blue no matter who folks going at me. So to me, that seems to be a good track record for being agnostic.
No, no. That's not a track record for being agnostic. That just means that you deal with a bunch of people that's very fucking obtuse. And they think that every fucking question about every election and every commentary about every election is some type of purity test. And if you don't say exactly what they want you to say, then they come at you like that. That's what you're dealing with. But that doesn't absolve you of the statements that you've made in the past. You know, like, oh, Joe Biden's doing a great job, or black men who don't get the jab are irresponsible. Do any of that shit ring a bell, BGS?
I don't know where people get the fact of the thing that I am a Democrat. Okay, you know, Trump had the easiest term that he could have imagined. All he had to do was not screw it up. Okay, and he went against everybody, including his own people.
His term was held up by COVID. Let's more gaslighting.
Because he just had one of his staffers resign in protest of Trump. So it's not.
Now, for anybody asking, why didn't you react to this while you was in the debate? A lot of it I did react to, but I'm gonna tell you something. If you sit there and react to every single time that BGS gaslights you, matter of fact, BGS is hoping that you react to it every time he gaslights you as a filibustering tactic. So you can spend the whole scheduled 2 hours trying to belabor argue your way out of one gaslight. It's worse than arguing with a woman. That's why I just didn't. A lot of this bullshit, I was just like, okay. Doug Dissonant writes, BGS was spinning half-ass truths about electoral politics and American political movements. I had to check myself before screaming at my screen. He flip-flop and flogging for the Democrats, etc. Yeah. It was a lot of lying. It was a lot of lying, Doug Dissonant. I had to do the same thing because I'm telling you, if you try to respond to every single lie, every single gaslight, you go, it's just gonna go in circles. So you gotta like skip over that shit and kind of just keep going with the main points with this nigga, man. That's how it is.
And he was a MAGA guy, a complete MAGA guy. So you have a lot of MAGA people that do not like this war because Trump ran on the thing that he was not going to do this kind of crap, and he did. So saying that that I am a Democratic shill and I'm not agnostic and I go against.
Now, when he say MAGA people not agreeing with the war, I don't really. He has to differentiate between the so-called allegedly conservative influencers and regular people. A lot of them influencers are paid, but regular people understand the necessity for this shit. We understand.
Democrats, because trust and believe, there's a whole lot of Democrats, okay, including Jasmine Crockett, would tell you that I'm nowhere near a Democrat. Ask Stacey Abrams, okay, when we actually talked about what is it called, the Ice Cube effect. Shout out to Dr. Neal.
Why do he act like he personally know these people? Yeah, I noticed that. Oh, I noticed that. Didn't have shit to say. No news rights. If you notice, very few BGS stands were present during the debate and they said nothing. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And blackmail political independence, which is what I vote for. Okay. Black men should go by policy and not Democratic or Republican. I could care less because they're two wings of the same freaking bird. That's the way I was trained. I was trained that way 30 years ago.
Oh my God. If I hear that same, oh, why niggas so intellectually lazy? Why are niggas so intellectually lazy? Why? You know, it's actually, let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all something. It's actually when it comes to politics, it's the intellectual laziness of niggas. It's the intellectual laziness of niggas that makes it possible for so many rhinos to exist within the Republican Party. Because if niggas weren't so intellectually lazy, you know what they would say? They would say, hey, Republicans, the Democrats don't have any tangibles. What do you have for us? I mean, we respect y'all legacy. Y'all was anti-slavery. We know that was y'all foundation. Or why do y'all keep letting all of these goofy ass bobbleheads online speak for y'all with all of these racist talking points, with all of this like quasi KKK shit? That's the Democrats' line of work. If niggas weren't so intellectually lazy, they would ask questions like that. But it's the intellectual laziness that facilitates this political WWE that we see every motherfucking day. The two wings of the same bird. God, if I hear that, if I had a fucking dime for every time I heard that stupid shit, I would have a neon green Lambo outside instead of Honda. I swear. Let's go.
It's been that way. I stopped being part of the Democratic Party in '92 with Bill Clinton. The only Democrat I voted for since then was Obama because he was freaking black and I wanted a black president. That was it. But I knew who Obama was.
Obama was black, huh? Okay.
So I don't know where y'all get this from. Because if you follow me and you've been following me for 12 years.
Doug, this and it, you ain't never lied. You ain't never lied. BGS, that dude on the stoop with a 40 on one hand and pointing out fantastical adventures he never done on some respectability politics never can be questioned. Old school from Don't Be a Menace. Yep. I started talking about whether or not Iran had a deliverable nuke or what type of bomb that it might have been, and this nigga tell me that he was I was a ROTC in the Air Force. Nigga, they just taught y'all how to march. They taught y'all about y'all pitch and roll with airplanes and shit. I really doubt that they taught y'all the different types of nuclear weapons that's available out there and the history of the weapons and how the weapons work. That's some shit you learn in physics class, nigga. But I digress. But that's a perfect example. Y'all go hear it later on in the debate. It's actually crazy.
My stuff is still up there. People will tell you, including the Democratic people that left, because I had a whole bunch of Democrats, okay? Democratic people, Democratic shills that thought they were right when it came to that last election, okay? That we all knew that Kamala Harris would lose, okay? I don't even. They were fussing until people start writing books, and everything that I said previous to that, 2 years previous to that, came about. If they could not put Trump in jail or eliminate him, which they did try, okay, he would win because is because Joe Biden couldn't run and Kamala Harris was not qualified. I don't know where y'all get this from. And as far as this Iran strike, guess what? Half his military people, okay, you have 4 generals resign. You got Tulsi Gabbard, and he has his own vice president trying to distance himself from this, okay? Because if you don't settle this in a proper manner, guess what? The Republicans will lose. Will lose. Okay, so this clear path you had for the next 8 years, including J.D. Vance in the next election, because he's the one I picked to actually win the 2028 election, barring this kind of crap. Okay, everybody told him this was a mistake, and guess what he did? He ignored it down to the tittle. He overrode his own generals, his own public staff. Okay. And Pete Hegseth, who actually went against the first strike that they did, okay, walked people out, actually agreed with this one. So I don't know what Pete Hegseth is on. I'm sure he's an
outright lie. The only person that resigned in protest over the Iran war was Joe Kent, an intelligence official. That's it. Who are these generals that he's talking about and these admirals that resigned in protest? BGS is a fucking moron. I'm gonna just come out and say it. I really wanted to say it during the debate, but again, I didn't want to like fuck up the debate. I didn't want to take the bait from this nigga. This dumb nigga doesn't realize that in this day and age, a lot of these generals are of 2 types, mainly. Those are the ones that's politicians. And when I say politicians, I don't mean that they have an aspiration to public office. They don't. When I say politicians, in other words, they are in a mode of thinking where they just want to make sure that they're in the good graces of who's ever in power. Right? That's what I mean by politicians. And anybody that's in the military, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or you got the generals that they are, especially when it comes to procurement, especially when it comes to that they are a little bit too collegial with defense contractors. Not to say that we don't have any generals that aren't interested or admirals that's not interested in doing a job or that aren't patriots. We do, but mainly this is what you have. So because this is what you have, and these people are worried about their career first over everything, then why in the fuck would they try to resign and protest like they some fucking hippie in the 60s? So again, what generals is he talking about? That fit complete fiction. But that's what this nigga traffics in, complete fiction. No News Podcast said when he mentioned ROTC, I almost fell out of my chair. ROTC trained military personnel are a joke. This for a man that served 22 years. Okay.
He's a good soldier. He's following the demands of his president, his commander in chief, but all his other military staff, a lot of them resigned because they told him this was a mistake.
Who resigned? Again, I'm just listening to this shit, right? And as he's saying this shit, I'm knowing that the only person that resigned was Joe Kent. And I'm just saying this, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna argue with this nigga. I want the people that's watching this shit to hear this bullshit.
Tulsi Gabbard is in front of council trying to backslide away from this. So I don't know what you guys are reading. All right, I'm done.
Rebuttal? Do you have a rebuttal, Tito? You gotta mute yourself.
Yeah, I always have a rebuttal. Predicting the outcome of an election doesn't mean that you really come down on. And remember, I only have 5 minutes to speak. So he does this shit intentionally. Because think about it. If I only got 5 minutes to speak, I can only rebut one lie in that 5 minutes, not 3, 4, or 5 lies. Please keep that in mind as you listen to the rest of this debate. I can only rebut one lie. I can only answer back to one lie. I don't have the time to answer back to 3, 4, or 5 of them. One side or the other. You just prognosticating who you think is going to win. But there have been many other statements that you've made in the past, such as, go get the jab. Biden's doing a great job. That's one thing. But your repeated use of the word crap to describe the strikes against Iran. I don't understand. So how is it that, if you're abreast of politics and foreign affairs, how does anybody not see the necessity for this over the horizon? How does anybody that lives in a Western country think that it's perfectly fine to potentially have a nuclear exchange in the Middle East that will one day endanger the whole environment of the planet, people's respiratory health? How do people not see? See, when you talk about this Iran shit, thank you. Same thing with colonels too. Generals don't resign. They either get replaced or retire. Yep. When people look at this Iran shit, this is what they take it for granted. And this is what I've been trying to point out to people. When people look at this Iran shit, and then you bring up the possibility of Iran having a nuclear weapon already, right? They think this is, and I see this reflected in a lot of these dumbass comments on social media. Oh, the U.S. has a nuclear weapon. Why are they trying to stop Iran from getting one? Right? They are stuck in a pit of orthodoxy. They think that, okay, we had a whole bunch of countries that didn't have a nuclear weapon before get one, and we haven't had a nuclear war yet. India and Pakistan just got one. What's the big deal? This is what the big deal is. This is what the crux of this shit is. You're not dealing. Wait a minute. Let me stop sharing for a minute so y'all can see the words coming out of my motherfucking mouth. You're not dealing with a normal country. So get all of these old ass 1950s ideas of mutually assured destruction and all of this shit and negotiations. Get that out of your mind. This is not a normal country. I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to tell people. This is not a normal country. This is a country that's in the grip of a theocratic cult. They have Muhammad listed as their head of state, the Prophet Muhammad. Thank you. Thank you, No News. We stop other countries because you don't want random countries with that ability holding the world hostage and threatening everyone. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why people don't see that. I don't know why people are like stuck back in the Cold War and they think that, oh, what does it matter? Because people have nuclear weapons, they're never going to use them. Okay. Okay. Keep thinking that. Keep thinking that. That this at some point was going to be absolutely necessary. And again, I have to reiterate, this is something that the Carter administration should have taken care of. When the 3,000 militants and students who were communist and radical Islamists took over Iran back in 1979, our troop strength was actually very high, much more high than it is now. You know, with huge garrisons in North Korea and in Europe and Germany, because it was during the Cold War, right? The Carter administration could have went in there and eliminated these people, restored Shah Reza Pahlavi back to power, and then it would have been business as usual. And not to say that the Shah was a saint, but the Shah was firmly anti-communist. And they had an opportunity to prevent what we're seeing now, right?
Are you worried that using your home address for business puts your privacy at risk? At iPostal One, we can help.
So how does anybody look at this and not understand that it's a pretty good certainty that Iran already has nuclear weapons? They probably just don't have a stockpile, and they don't have a reliable means to deliver them. Right? When you see the knee-jerk reaction from Israel and the United States, that's the only thing that you can deduce, is that Iran already has a deliverable nuclear weapon. So how is it that you think the point of all this to ask you, BGS, is how do you think that kicking the can for another administration, for another few election cycles, why this problem was allowed to fester was a viable option? I yield my time.
Okay, Tito, I'm sorry, BGS, are you up for rebuttal?
Okay, the thing is, I thought this was a debate and not a question and answer session. Okay. The thing is, which answer does he want me to answer first? Okay, because he laid out about 10 different questions. Which answer does he want me to answer first?
Did y'all hear me ask him 10 different questions? I'm telling you, this is worse than arguing with your bitch. Did y'all hear me ask 10 different questions? I drove down on the central point. The first thing I answered was his allegiance to the Democratic Party. Then the second thing I talked about is the necessity of the strikes. That's it. I done asked 10 different questions. Top Dollar writes, Tito, I have to disagree with you. Israel is an apartheid theocratic state conducting genocide and white supremacy. The U.S. and Israel attacked Iran, not the other way around. Yo, you right. Israel is a little bit of a theocracy. You right. You're right. But the difference between Israel and Iran is they not running around talking about death to America. That's the difference. The difference between Israel and Iran is that Israel at least uses some type of money to provide a normal or a pretty nice life for their citizens, whereas Iran uses their money to fund people to make suicide vests and blow themselves up in the London subway. This is not an argument about morality here. It's not. It's not. But what I'm trying to put forth here is that because the Carter administration in the 70s failed to do anything about Iran is the reason that we have to be such close allies with Israel. That's the reason why. That's the reason why. If they would have did something about Iran, we wouldn't have to be. We could be kind of like, we fuck with them the long way, or we love them from a distance. That type of deal. It could have been like that, but Carter administration didn't do a fucking thing about Iran. It is what it is. And trust me, I know that Top Dollar about the Anglo-Iranian oil company, otherwise known as BP. So don't think that this regime that's been running Iran for 47 years, that they don't serve at the behest of BP and engage in a lot of state-sponsored chaos in order to keep petroleum prices high. I don't know why Jimmy Carter didn't do something about it back then. Maybe he was afraid he would get assassinated. I don't know. But that the threat of Iran is the reason that we have to be friends with Israel. It is. It is what it is, man. Yeah, I'm not defending Israel. Thank you, Captain Luciano. If that's what you think, Top Dollar, I'm not defending them, but I'm saying I'm pointing out why this is a necessity. And don't forget, we all breathe the same air. You run into a lot of people from where I'm from. We got bronchitis, asthma, all of that shit. Remember, we was breathing in all of that shit from Chernobyl when we was kids. And where we live at is where the jet stream swirls at. When you look on one of them weather maps. Just saying, we all breathe the same air.
And it's sure.
No, in my discourse, I cited things that you
said. Give me
off with
which one?
I just asked the question. Can you not hear?
Which one? Which one?
I'll repeat it.
Reiterate it, please. Yes.
How did you think that it was a viable? That it's a viable option to kick the Iran can down the road for a few more years?
Okay, that's real simple. Okay. The same way that Israel called off the 12-day war because they're getting their ass whipped.
Has nothing to do with my question. Doesn't have anything to do with what I just asked them. Nothing.
Okay. That's how. Okay. The same way.
That's not an answer, man.
That because Trump thought it was the decapitation strike. I don't know how BB talked him into this bullshit. Okay. Excuse me for the language. I don't know how BB talked him.
He didn't have to talk him into it. Netanyahu came in there and showed Trump probably pictures, because the Mossad is a motherfucker. They probably came in there and showed Trump pictures of the nukes. Remember when he came to the White House? He probably opened up a briefcase and said, look, let me show you something, man. Here, check these out. He showed him pictures of the nukes. And most likely the pictures that he had was from somebody that had infiltrated their Republican Guard. I don't think you need that much persuasion after that. And that's most likely what led up to the strike. I don't know why he used this word decapitation. I don't know what but that's probably what led up to the strikes last year.
Into this, okay? Just because the chick in Venezuela betrayed her president, okay,
has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Total non sequitur.
And was and formed a soft coup with the help of the United States and Venezuela, doesn't mean that it could go to Iran and do the exact same thing. You had just 8 months earlier got your ass whipped, okay? And you know that they know that you're coming back, and you know that Russia and China are going to start sending parts and missiles to these people. They're not going to run out.
People always talk about all of these wonder weapons that China is supposed to have. You know, like they Temu stealth fighter. See, this type of dick riding of enemy countries is how you know this nigga is an agent. This is how you know. This is how you know. And I don't mean an agent of them other countries. I mean an agent of the left.
You're going to run out of weapons, and you're already out of basic interceptors. Okay, they already took out your antenna arrays. Okay, which Iran didn't do the first time.
And all of that is propaganda that they putting out there online. All of that is propaganda that they putting out there online. And you know what, BGS? Even if they had destroyed every single fucking radar that we have in the Middle East, what about NORAD, nigga? Like, this is basic shit. This is basic shit. Let me tell y'all something. If you made your own motherfucking rocket out of 2-liter bottles and aluminum pipes and took that motherfucker in your backyard and launched it, NORAD saw it. You hear me? Wait a minute. I don't think y'all hear me. If you was a hobbyist and you made your own goddamn rocket out of 2-liter bottles and aluminum pipes, the minute that and you launched it out of your backyard, the minute that shit gets above treetop height, NORAD saw it. They saw it. Remember when that airliner got shot down a few years ago over Eastern Europe and the Russians tried to lie and the Air Force was like, no, we saw the missile. We saw it. Y'all launched. It might have been accidental. We don't know. But y'all launched the surface-to-air missile at them. Remember that? NORAD saw it, nigga. They saw it. They saw it. I know that. I know that. No news. Anybody with half a fucking brain know that. No news rights for the record. Not that BGS knows we have stockpiles here to fight World War II again. We have depots all around the country. I know that. We haven't even used up all of the 500 iron bombs from World War II yet, y'all. Do y'all know that? When you be seeing them so-called smart bombs, all that is some fins and shit that they screwed on to a 500-pound bomb from World War II. that can either be remotely controlled by a pilot or by a laser target designator. We haven't even ran out of the ordnance from World War II yet. Same thing with 50 caliber shells. Haven't even ran out of them yet. Some of the ordnance they was using in 03 in Iran, some of that shit was first made back in the fucking 40s and 30s. I take it too that BGS ain't never heard of the Rock Island Arsenal. You know, that huge or the DuPont Arsenal out here in Joliet that just make pounds of explosive, tons of explosives every day. I don't know. I don't know, man. This nigga's way out, boy. Way out. This nigga know everything but don't know a goddamn thing at the same time. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Because they don't want, because number one, China had their back. Say, hey, don't hit a carrier, don't hit the United States bases because we don't want to aggravate these people. Okay, but you thought you're going to come there, sit there for 2 months, and then start a war, and didn't think you're going to get this reaction. Okay, you got 150 missiles just hit Israel today because they're out of air.
So they firing missiles at people. But he wants us to believe that they won't go ahead and use a missile against the carrier because it'll aggravate the United States. That doesn't make sense. If you fighting a war, you fighting a war. Well, what the fuck is he talking about?
Defenses, okay? What did you actually think? And then you get the cut off the Strait of Hormuz, where you think they're just going to give up in 2 weeks? It was not a good idea. The military people told him it wasn't good.
Oh, and Top Dollar, I feel you, but what we not, and I'm sure it's a lot of people that serving that could kind of echo the same sentiment. It's not about Israel. It's about the possibility of a nuclear exchange. That's what it's about. That's more important than worrying about Israel, is the possibility of a nuclear exchange. We all got to breathe the same air. I know everybody, people want to take their political stances against Israel and all that, cool. But we, at the end of the day, we all have to breathe the same air. Don't lose sight of that, please.
Wasn't a good idea, okay? Everybody else, why you think Europe is backsliding, okay? They ain't start this. Everybody know this was a dumbass idea to start this freaking war, unless you can get China and Russia to actually accede that they're gonna throw Iran under the bus, which they are not, okay? Trump already tried that. Like 2 days after the war, he sent Kirshner to Russia to actually intermediate, to actually ask for Putin's help, okay?
This sure didn't age well, did it? This sure didn't age well. We got a Strait of Hormuz coalition as of today. This sure didn't age well, did it? And I knew that's what was going to happen. But I didn't feel like arguing with this dumb nigga. That aged well, didn't it? Just 2 days later.
Just had the whole GCC up there asking for Putin's help, okay? Trump just talked to Xi, asking for Xi's help to open up the strait and put a counter on Iran, okay? Everybody knew this was a mistake. Everybody knew this was a mistake. If you win this war, basically it's going to be a Vietnam. Your economy is going to go to crap because you could not afford it. You don't have the weapons.
A favorite tactic of the leftists, whenever just let me compose myself for a minute. Let me oh, wait a minute. Let me stop sharing for a second. Let me compose myself for a second. Leftists never ever, they never miss a chance to demonstrate their hypocrisy. Whenever a leftist president, whenever a Democratic president is engaging in a foreign war, it's always depicted by the media, and this includes World War II. This includes World War II and World War One, right? Whenever a Democratic president is engaging in a foreign war, the media will by default depict it as being this noble cause. It will depict it as being just necessity, right? It just had to be done. But whenever it's a Republican doing it, cue the Vietnam comparison. And the crazy part is that, do y'all understand the history of Vietnam? That's a whole nother rabbit hole that I could have jumped down during this debate, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. Vietnam was actually part of the Burma theater during World War II. The militants in Vietnam, the Viet Minh, they were actually our allies in World War II. They fought against the Japanese. The problem ensued when World War II was over. The French wanted their colonies back. Now, I don't know why President Eisenhower would then just tell Charles de Gaulle, like, hey, bro, look, man, leave them people alone, man. They fought on our side. Just leave them alone, G. Just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. I always thought that was one of the biggest mistakes of the Eisenhower administration, is that he didn't find some type of way to placate the French to get them to leave Vietnam alone, even if it would have took him to broker a deal to say, hey, look, we understand that they grow poppies in Vietnam. We get it. We understand that the French underworld has always had to pay a heavy amount of bribes to the French government to be able to traffic this shit from their territory. We get it. We understand that heroin and poppy is a moneymaker for y'all. We will still let y'all harvest y'all poppy, but let them people get their own self-determination. And we'll make them promise that they're not gonna fuck with y'all poppy commerce. That's all it would have took. Eisenhower never would have had to send military advisors in there when the French got beat at Dien Bien Phu. Never had to do any of that. Matter of fact, after the French got beat at Dien Bien Phu, Eisenhower was ready to get the fuck up out of there. Kennedy got elected. You know what Kennedy did? He expanded. Kennedy expanded. All of the special forces. See, This is a rabbit hole I didn't want to go down. And watch how quick all of these former military people go agree with me. All of the special forces were created basically during the Kennedy administration. We had Army Rangers before the Kennedy administration, but the Army Rangers were basically for reconnaissance and for doing like low intensity missions, like blowing up bridges and ammunition depots and shit in preparation for invasion. That's what the Army Rangers were. The Marine Raiders, the same thing. There were no Navy SEALs back then. There were just frogmen, UDT teams, underwater demolition. The Kennedy administration made the special forces as we know it today to be the direct field assets of the CIA in Vietnam. That's under a Democrat. Nobody ever remembers that though. Kennedy converted the fucking Army Rangers into the Green Berets to take it from being in advisory role to basically training armies of Montagnards and Nungs to fight against the North Vietnamese. Kennedy is responsible for that. Look, he was in the air. He agrees. He fucking thank you. None of these special forces, none of them existed in the way that we know them today before the Kennedy administration. He made these special forces, I'm going to say this again, to be the direct field assets of the CIA in Vietnam. Kennedy thought that he could secret agent and commando his way up out of that war. And it didn't fucking work. And it didn't work. Kennedy expanded the war, and then LBJ expanded it even more. This was all under Democrats. Yet, when any Republican president needs to use military force, motherfuckers compared to Vietnam. It's the craziest gaslight in the world. It's the craziest gaslight in the world. No, that ain't how he got assassinated. That ain't how he got assassinated. We don't have a manufacturing base. Even though, I'm going to say this again, just in my state alone, millions of rounds of ordnance and millions of thousands of pounds of explosives are manufactured every day just in my state alone. But he think we don't have the industrial capacity. Like where do he get this dumb shit from? Does he not understand how many weapons that the United States sells to other countries? We just quiet about it. The fucking defense industry here is bigger than the fucking automotive industry, nigga. Please land that motherfucker. Whoa. Wait a minute. And to further drive home how military actions by Democratic presidents are always either overlooked or celebrated. Rodimus, thanks for the cash out. Don't let that brother be alone. To drive it home, I'm going to say this again. The media reflexively either overlooks when it's going badly or they celebrate any use of the armed forces by a Democratic administration. But they always try to demonize any use of military force by a Republican administration. Even the Civil War. Even the Civil War. Even the Civil War. Some of y'all have probably had your own teachers and your own professors gripe about how Abraham Lincoln suspended habeas corpus during the Civil War. Even the war, even the use of military force to preserve the Union is not unanimously celebrated by the media and the educational system. Tell me I'm wrong. Even the Civil War. Thank you, No News. Talking about we don't have the manufacturing capacity. Nigga, you must be out of your goddamn mind. No News writes, I used to work at Aberdeen Proving Grounds on the lab side where we designed today's weapons. BGS is clueless. We don't have the manufacturing capacity. The one motherfucking thing that America ain't gonna never run out of is ordnance. That's the one motherfucking thing that we ain't gonna never run out of at the end of the day. Nigga. At the end of the day. In Vietnam, you had basically in ethnic cohesion with the what is it, the Minh people that are the ethnic majority in Vietnam, and they had solidarity, they had fighting experience. They fought the Japanese in World War II. So Iran is nothing like Vietnam. Iran is a hodgepodge of different ethnicities, different religious backgrounds and everything. These Islamists that are in Iran are actually in the minority. Even most of the people that end up being ayatollahs aren't even Persians, which is the ethnic majority in Iran. That I think the last few ayatollahs were actually ethnic Azerbaijani. So this is in no way like Vietnam. Now, to answer your point about Europe backsliding and not wanting to put in any help. Actually, what President Trump was asking for was more in the way of supporting vessels, right? Like, like minesweepers, hospital ships, shit like that. Like different minesweeping ships, different littoral combat ships. And the reason that he's asking this is because these countries have been basically getting off for free militarily all of these years. They white people like to say that they're the epitome of society, and yet the American taxpayer had to station an 80,000 man plus standing army in your continent to keep you from hacking each other to death, right? But these countries that brag about all of this healthcare and all of this modern infrastructure is because they don't have any military expenditures, and they had to be forced and argue with just to promise slightly to contribute 3%, right? And so the reason that Europe is backsliding is because they're hoping to this will be a hindrance that will affect the president in the midterms and maybe lead to a Democrat being back in power, so it can be business as usual, if anything, right? So I guess my question to you is, do you even think that Europe is a viable ally anyway? And do you even think that in the next foreseeable 10 years that Europe will even be the same Europe that we sat down with after World War II, given the demographic winter that they're facing and the rate of Islamization?
Getting hard and getting turned on are not the same thing.
That is why Blue Chew Gold was created.
Science shows that
dick pills, like, come on, man.
You landed your plane? Cheetah, you landed your plane?
Yeah, I yield my time. Yeah.
All right, excellent. BGS, rebuttal or response?
This is a whole lot of drift, okay? This is a whole lot of drift. Okay, no, of course Europe is not going to be the same Europe that it was after World War II. Okay, Europe has been declining for a very long time. Okay, and basically the Ukraine war and the pipeline and in the United States and Europe running out of weapons to actually enforce their hold over the world is basically gone for the most part. Okay, so of course they're not, and everybody knows it. Okay, and Europe is more concerned about what's going on in their own continent rather than starting something new down there in the Middle East. Okay, everybody was telling the guy this is a bad idea. Okay, including the guy that just resigned.
Yeah. Shattering the old British monarchist economic order in order to lower petroleum prices. Yeah, that's a bad idea. The fuck out of here. Top Dollar writes, the U.S. didn't assassinate Masada and impose the Shah on the behalf of Zionists. Iran wouldn't be an Islamic State in the first place. Arab dynasties are imposed by the British. Why aren't they even okay? You say, why aren't they even Arabic? Iran itself is not an Arabic country. Actual Arabs, Sunni Muslims are a very, very tiny minority inside of Iran. Iran is basically a Caucasian country because it's an ethnic majority there of Persians, and Persians are Caucasians. Okay. So the reason that who you talking about was assassinated, this is the Cold War. That man was allied with communists. That's why they assassinated him. Not to be jingoistic, but I'm firmly anti-communist. Sometimes you do have to replace a fucking communist with somebody like Pinochet. You do. It's a sad reality of political affairs and foreign affairs, but it is what it is. It is what it is. That man was pro-Soviet. Right? And another thing that people kind of overlook is that you meant you didn't mean in Iran. Okay. Oh, well, yeah, we all know that those people, when you see these monarchies in Middle Eastern countries, you know who those monarchies are, to Top Dollar Black Pill Gangster's point, and I agree with that part of the point. When you see these monarchies in Middle Eastern countries, all those are the tribes that was the house niggas up under the British when they were fighting against the Ottoman Empire in World War I in the desert. That's all those monarchies are. Those are not the hereditary monarchies from before Christ and all of that shit. Those are hereditary monarchies from goddamn 1917. So yeah, he right about that. You right about that, gangster. That's all they are, is people that was house niggas up under the British during World War I. The ones that was riding with Lawrence of Arabia. That's all they are.
And one of his own staff resigned, told Trump this was a bad idea. He did it anyway. You know, my mother was just asking me. She called me, asking me about this stuff. I said, well, you know, the problem with the Joker, and I called Trump the Joker. Okay, the Joker thinks he's smarter than everybody else. And that's his problem. Sometimes that's his power. Sometimes that's his weakness. This time it happens to be a weakness. You just had to negotiate a ceasefire. Okay, Iran just let you off the hook. You know, with the help of Qatar and China, let them off the hook. Okay, give them a ceasefire and then see what they do. They have been waiting to fight this war for 20 years. You just brought it to them.
What the fuck is he talking about? What ceasefire did China broker? What the fuck is he talking about?
They're not going to back down. Okay, just like Afghanistan fought the war for 20 years and we had to leave. Okay, we'll have to do the same thing here. You know, you don't have the money. And the reason I bring up Vietnam, everybody brings up Vietnam, because they brought up Vietnam when they went down in Venezuela. That's like the Senate and Congress told
right. A lot of leftists brought up Vietnam when we went in Venezuela because they were hoping that we were going to put boots on the ground there and we was going to be locked in some type of counterinsurgent. They was hoping for that. So they can use it for the midterms because they're fucking sick, just like BGS is. Oh, you peeped that 200 dissident talking about Trump always needs to be the smartest one, and sometimes it's weak. Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's a lot of projection right there. That's a lot of projection right there.
Take Trump's war powers. Ain't gonna be no boots on the ground because Venezuela is 3 times the size of Vietnam, and we don't have the money. Do not have the money to fight this war. Okay, because if this war goes on beyond a year or so, like you're gonna spend like $3 trillion just for this war, $3 trillion that you don't have. Trump just asked for a supplement of $50 billion to fight this freaking thing that should have never started. You're already in debt.
You, just you, building your app on base 44.
Yeah, build your app.
Describe it.
That's why we bring up Vietnam, because Vietnam caused Nixon.
The reason you bring up Vietnam is because you're intellectually lazy and you want to use the memory of U.S. defeat. I don't really see it as that, but U.S. defeat in Vietnam to try to fearmonger.
Gold standard because of the debt. Vietnam cost United States 70% of their gold. That's why we bring up Vietnam. Okay, basically NATO should have been done in the 50s, according to Eisenhower. Eisenhower wanted to get rid of NATO and disperse NATO because he didn't think it was needed back in the 50s. So I agree with Trump. Okay, NATO should have been dispersed. But guess what? Your Congress people and your business people actually want to keep it going because it's in their economic interest to actually keep NATO there. It's 2 things. One, they make money, and the second thing, they keep the Europeans from fighting each other, which is the real reason NATO is there. It's not there to protect against the Russians. It's to protect the Europeans from themselves, because they'll start fighting again. They got us in a bunch of wars and 2 world wars. That's why NATO is still there. But I'll land my plane there.
All right, well played. Tito, rebuttal, or you guys want to jump to the next one? I'm good with either.
I'm still wondering, like, how did he think it was going to be acceptable to keep playing kick the can with this? They have a nuke already. Totally didn't answer the question. People might not want to admit that, but yeah, they have a nuke already, right? I'm pretty sure that after those B2 strikes from last year, that after they went over with spectrometers, they saw the purity of the uranium that they were processing, and they knew that it's capable to produce a nuclear weapon with it. And that's why you have this reaction. This was something that was absolutely necessary, if not now, then later, and probably worse, right? So I'm just wondering, how do people not see that? How do you not see it, BGS? They have a nuke already. They do. Might not have a stockpile, might not have a reliable means to deliver it because nuclear weapons are extremely heavy. So even when you look at the nuclear arm Tomahawk missiles, you add in the nuclear component significantly reduces the range of their cruise missile because it's heavy, right? So this was something that was inevitable. This was something that was inevitable. You know, people might say, "Oh, Iran wasn't nuclear capable." Okay, if you think so, okay. And not to mention that, you know, in terms of negotiations and everything, that this is not a normal country that you're negotiating with. This is a country that's in the grip of a theocratic cult. If you familiarize yourself with the Iranian constitution, they actually list the Prophet Muhammad as the head of state. So this is not a normal country that you're dealing with. So like I said, this was inevitable. And I'll land my plane there.
Okay. He said. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Hold on. Let me just reset. No, you're fine. You're fine. That's
okay.
me.
Let's. Okay. The thing is, I don't know what Tito reads. Okay. I don't know where he studies. I don't know. Does he actually read this stuff, or he just makes this stuff up? Okay. The Fatah 2 by itself, okay, which is a hypersonic missile, okay, can carry a
Here we go with all of these off-brand wonder weapons. They always talk about these off-brand wonder weapons. Where they at? We in war right now. Where they at?
2-ton a 2-ton load, okay, which is more than enough to deliver a nuclear weapon. Okay, your tomahawks can carry nuclear weapons. Okay, and they're much smaller. Okay, basically, Iran has cruise missiles that can deliver nuclear weapons. Okay, you got to remember, a nuke is not that heavy, man. I don't know where you get that from. A nuke is not that heavy unless you want to take out a whole region. Okay, but the hypersonics, okay, the Fatah 5 can carry up to 3 tons of material. Okay, that's more than enough to carry a nuke. I don't know where you get that from. You can put a tactical nuke, which the Tomahawks do and have. Okay, you can put that on a drone.
There he is again. Well, I'm gonna let him finish.
If you want to, why do you think that Russia warned Biden about shooting Tomahawks into Russia? They said they're going to assume there's a nuclear payload on that Tomahawk. So I went to ROTC in '77, man. Air Force ROTC studying this stuff. So I've been following this stuff, man, for 40 years. Okay.
BGS is so full of shit. The type of weapons that he talking about, they didn't even have back then. When you're talking about some of the cruise missiles that we have today, some of the drones, they had drones, but they was mostly for targeting by airplanes for gunnery practice, right? So when we talk about nuclear weapons and nuclear payload, this is what I was trying to tell this nigga, but he know too much to listen, right? And I hate that I gotta turn this into a fucking physics lecture, because that's not what I wanted. I didn't even want that during the debate. I didn't want to turn the debate into a physics lecture. When you talk about nuclear weapons, it's 3 kinds of nuclear weapons, right? You have the most primitive type of nuclear weapon, which is a gun type nuclear weapon. And with a gun type nuclear weapon, it shoots a projectile made out of fissile material into a pile of fissile material to achieve a chain reaction. The other 2 types of weapons is an implosion bomb, right? Now, at Hiroshima, it was a gun type weapon. Fat Man was a gun type weapon. The weapon that was used at Nagasaki, Little Boy, was an implosion type weapon. So it was decided that the implosion type weapon was clearly superior because it had a better yield, which is ironic because Hiroshima is always the scale that they measure bombs by, but the better yield was at Nagasaki. And then you have a hydrogen bomb, which also use implosion, but the implosion happens inside a hydrogen to create an even greater yield, right? So I doubt seriously that Iran has. Thank you. That's the exact point I was trying to come to with this nigga. No News Podcast says nuclear missiles with a payload to destroy a city cannot be transported by a cruise missile. Cruise missiles are small, is the point I was trying to make to him. Are you talking about a strategic nuclear weapon, which has a payload to destroy a city? Or are you talking about a cruise missile, which is a tactical nuclear weapon, right? So the point that he was talking about with Russia, we go just assume that any tomahawk is a nuke. That's fucking stupid. Russia never said that, and Russian officials and generals will never think that. You know why they would never think that? Because if you're going to have a nuclear first strike, it sure in the fuck ain't gonna be with no goddamn cruise missile. I'm gonna say it again. If you're going to have a nuclear first strike, a nuclear preemptive strike, it sure in the fuck ain't gonna come from no goddamn cruise missile. It's gonna come from ICBM, or it's gonna come from a low flying intruder type of aircraft, like the B-1 bomber or the B-2. And that's doubtful that they would use that for a first strike. So most likely it's gonna come from an ICBM, even though there will be a more covert option for a first strike, because these planes can evade radar and evade detection, right? But it's not gonna come from a fucking tomahawk. So anybody that's in the military that would think that is an idiot, and BGS is an idiot for saying it. No nuclear first strike is gonna come from a fucking cruise missile, because it's not even the calculus of risking this type of conflict is not even worth it. It's not even worth it. You using a nuclear armed cruise missile as a first strike is like getting into a shootout and being pinned down under enemy fire, and the people that have the low ground are shooting at the people in the high ground with their pistols, instead of going to a tow missile launcher, instead of using squad level machine guns and they rifles. Just everybody take out their pistols. That's the equivalent of doing that, and nobody would do that. So I don't know why the fuck he would say that. Thank you. And I really didn't feel like I rebutted the point somewhat, but not completely enough, because again, I didn't want to turn this into a physics lecture. Captain Luciano writes, BGS relies on popular ignorance to carry his arguments over the finish line. Checking him with basic physics would give the look your argument is failing because you have to go off a topic. Thank you. Nobody would do a first strike with a nuclear tipped cruise missile. It's not worth it. If you're doing a nuclear first strike, you know what you're looking for? You're looking for complete fucking obliteration. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for complete fucking obliteration. You're not looking just to because all a nuclear strike is gonna do is provoke your enemy and then give them a time to alert and return fire. I'm gonna let this dumb nigga finish though, man.
So I don't know, or 50 years really. So I have no idea where you get your information from. Okay, I have no idea where you get your information from. Okay,
it's called common fucking sense, BGS.
I really don't. I'm trying to remember what the second thing is. The second question. I don't know why it's turned into a question and answer thing. Okay, if you got facts on the table, stuff like that, please present them. It's supposed to be a debate, not a question and answer thing.
Well, it is a debate. You guys are having open dialogue back and forth, refuting each other's points. This is how it would have been if I brought you up on a panel on Sunday, and that's why I said I didn't want to derail the show. It's going great, actually. Yeah, it's going great, actually. I'm listening in third person.
I have no idea what he thinks what NATO is. I actually agree with Trump letting NATO go. NATO should have been gone, man, 60 years ago.
What did I when did I mention NATO? Who is this nigga debating with? Hey, this nigga need to be in memory care. I keep telling y'all, man, this nigga need memory care.
It's been gone, okay? Your Congress does not want to let NATO go. It's a treaty, okay? Your Biden and the Democrats did not want to let NATO go. Okay, I agree with Trump. NATO should have been gone. NATO should have been gone. So but it's still holding on to it. It's because it benefits these people that are in Congress. So as far as NATO is concerned, NATO should have been gone. That's why people that follow me and follow my politics, okay, instead of guessing, should already know that. As I already said that. There's things I agree with Trump. There's things I disagree with Trump. And as far as him cleaning up what Biden did, I agree with that. Okay, Biden broke something that can't be fixed, and Trump and Bessent have been trying to fix it. I don't agree about their methods of trying to fix it. Okay, I don't agree that what they did in Venezuela, even though I understand why they did it. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with them taking tankers, even though I understand why they did it. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with the methods. That's how come a lot of Congress sat on their hands. It's because they know what the dollar is. They know what's going on with the gold. They know what's going on with the banks. That's how come they're sitting on their hands. They're hoping that he will do something and fix it without breaking stuff. Okay, this is the point of breaking things. This is why this is a bridge too far. You just lost this freaking war a little less than a year ago. You're trying the same thing again and think it's going to work? What's the definition of insanity? Okay? Doing the same thing over and over again.
What is he talking about? Lost what war?
Expecting different results. Anyway, I'll end my plane.
Is he talking about the Ukraine? What the fuck is he talking about?
Okay, Tito, you want to rebuttal that? And if you guys don't have a back and forth, I actually have a question for the floor. You guys go ahead. Okay. You want to rebuttal that?
In respect to his rebuttal about the deliverability of a presumed nuclear device that the Iranians might have, I have to remind him. I mean, since he in the Air Force ROTC, that there are different types of nuclear weapons. There are, it could be a uranium bomb, a gun type bomb. It could be a plutonium where it works off an implosion, where a interlocking ring, an explosive, implodes and compresses a radioactive core, or it can be a hydrogen bomb. But the question is, to what degree have Iranian scientists, how do they know how to micronize different circuits? Are they using some analog? Are they using servo motors? It's all of the attenuating, triggering, and ranging devices along with the bomb that makes it heavy. Not so much. Not only that, dumb motherfucker. The purpose of a strategic, it's all time. I understand that it's smaller nuclear weapons. I understand, BGS, that you probably looked in your Encyclopedia Britannica and you saw the old picture from the 50s of the nuclear armed fucking artillery shell that the US tested back in the 50s. I know you saw all of that, whatever, cool. But all nuclear weapons are not created equal, right? Just because you fire a nuke at a city, if it's a smaller nuke, don't mean it's going to destroy the whole city. Tactical nukes are low yield by design on purpose. So the nuclear weapons you talking about fall under the purview of tactical nuclear weapons. I'm talking about strategic nuclear weapons. When you talk about Iran having a deliverable nuclear weapon, I'm talking about, I would think it would be implied that I'm speaking about strategic nuclear weapons, something that can destroy a whole fucking city. Just as ground zero, but then destroy other surrounding cities by the shockwave and the heat. That's what I'm talking about. Weapons like that by nature are heavy because you want enough of a yield to accomplish your strategic aims, dumb nigga. But like I said, I didn't want to turn this shit into a fucking physics lecture. Just the bomb itself, and it's also the triggering device. The triggering device can determine how heavy it is. Now, if you have a plutonium bomb, which is most likely what people will try to use in like a deliverable tactical nuke, it will, of course, like I said again, be explosives that are around a plutonium core, and it will cause an implosion chain reaction. So the question is, how successful are the Iranians in making? We know that they can refine plutonium because they had a reactor, so that's not the question. The question is, how adept are they at making explosives light enough? Producing a bomb is not so much the difficult part as refining the plutonium, but then it becomes a matter of, like I said, all of the attenuating equipment with the bomb that determines what it's going to be and how deliverable it's going to be, right? So, I mean, I think that we probably just about exhausted this, and we can move on to whatever question you had, and I yield my time.
Thank you, sir. Well done, gentlemen. Hold on, let me pull this up real quick. Let me switch. Give me a second. Let me stop the clock. You guys are doing good. We're slightly over the 30-minute mark, and no chair throwing. Fantastic. Shout out to everybody in the chat for dropping by. And I missed you. Hold on, it was Andre, wasn't it? Shout out to you, Andre, supporting the stream. You said something for the pot. Thank you, sir. Can you guys hear me? All right. I got a couple questions, but let's float this one.
What if instead of designing thumbnails, you could just paste your YouTube link into our AI and it would create scroll-stopping thumbnails for—
It still wouldn't make the type of thumbnails I need.
I'm going to give it to you I'm going to pose the question to you first, BGS, and then
yeah, I believe that distant roads. Yeah, I believe they have them already. Because what would be the point of all of this shit? What would be the point? Yeah, I think they have nukes already. They just don't have a way to deliver them. Because understand, to deliver a strategic level nuclear weapon, either you need some type of infiltrator airplane, because the old days of flying with propellers is over with. The radars go get you. The SAM sites go get you. Right? Or you need an ICBM. So then when you're talking about ICBMs, you need some type of way to guide it, and you need stage separation technology. So yeah, I believe that.
You and well, I'm gonna pose it to both of you. I want you both to answer, and then you both can rebut each other's answer. How would a prolonged Strait of Hormuz blockade threaten 20% of the global oil, impact Russia's energy leverage and China's economy more than the U.S.-Israel alliance? That's all you, BGS.
Okay, how would it impact
Russia? How would it impact Russia's energy leverage and China's economy more than the U.S.-Israel alliance?
You told me if Russia aligned themselves with U.S. and Israel? I don't understand the question.
Question again is, how would a prolonged Strait of Hormuz blockade, which threatens 20% of the global oil,
right?
How would that impact Russia's energy leverage and China's economy more than the U.S.-Israel alliance?
Russia's going to make more money just off the rip on what they sell. Okay, and now since the Strait of Hormuz is closed, now Europe has to buy oil and gas from Russia because it's closed, and that's not including fertilizer and the other thing. So Russia's going to make money hands over fists. So if that's the question, I'm not understanding if that's the question. So
Captain Luciano, if you have the capacity to enrich uranium, it's not that hard to build a nuke. This is why you use the enrichment facilities. Believe me, if Iran had the nukes, they would have used them by now. How? When Iran's entire air force are museum piece relics? How? You need an ICBM to be able to deliver a nuclear weapon. That is a space vehicle. Understand this, an ICBM is a fucking space vehicle. It shoots way up in the air, goes into space, and then drops the warheads down. You know why you need an ICBM? Because the surface to air missiles are too fucking sophisticated for you to think that you can just use a regular theater level ballistic missile to deliver a strategic level nuclear weapon. You need an ICBM. Like I said, it's the deliverability. Okay. Y'all keep thinking they don't have a nuclear weapon, man. If it help you sleep at night, think that.
We know, well, Israel and the United States has already stabbed Russia in the back more than a few times. They don't trust them. That's why they turned down Kushner's deal like a week ago. Okay, yeah, I know. Yeah, they offered them, we can sell oil to Europe, you can sell oil to us, just don't sell oil to China. Okay, well, we'll take off all the sanctions, just don't sell oil to China and come over and join us. And Putin gave him the middle finger. So it's about loyalty. They've already stabbed you in the back. They stabbed you in the back with the Ukraine thing. Okay, so why would Putin trust them?
You laying your plane?
I land my plane.
All right, well played. That's an open-ended question. I'm not on any.
I don't know. I don't. I'm hoping I answered your question.
No. It was good. It was good. Same question, Tito. I'll reread it. Hold on. Let me restart the clock. Question is, how would a prolonged Strait of Hormuz blockade which threatens 20% of the global oil, give or take, impact Russia's energy leverage and China's economy more than the U.S.-Israel alliance? You can answer that, and then you can also feel free to rebuttal BGS's response if you feel so appropriate, and go.
Well, as far as for China, I think it would damn near grind their economy to a halt. As far as Russia, of course, it would benefit them in being able to sell more of their petroleum products. And I think that it will actually lead to more foreign investment in getting at a lot of the oil that's in Siberia that they haven't got to yet. A lot of people don't know that about Russia, that it's like a Siberia sitting on top of a whole damn sea of oil. But today, I think the Iranians destroyed in Qatar a liquid natural gas facility, and that's of course going to drive up energy prices for people who are like kind of like off of the grid compared to what we would think of as a lot of people in less developed areas that use LNG for heating and for cooking and everything, and that would greatly affect them.
If you're a producer who hates AI, this plugin might change your mind. This is Reimagining Co-Producer. You can take any sample.
And I yield the rest of my time.
Okay. Do you want to rebuttal that?
Nope. Nope.
Like I said, it's an open-ended question.
I already answered the question.
No, okay. I liked your response as well. I got another open-ended question. This is regarding the oil. And I just want to get your take. I'll go back to you again, BGS. Does the war's oil price spike give Russia and China short-term gains via higher exports that outweigh losses from uh, disputed in the disputed BRI corridors?
Okay, now you got to repeat that.
Via higher exports that outweigh the losses from the disputed oil corridors via Hormuz and the damage to Iran.
For Russia, short-term gain. China, short-term pain is because now they're going to have to scale back some of the stuff they were doing. But the thing is, they've already gained for this thing. So, but if it's a war between two sides, and they've already prepared for it. So they're willing. China, we got to remember one thing: China is not the United States. Okay, China is used to suffering. Chinese people are using the hunkering down.
Here we go, extolling the virtues of communist countries. A favorite tendency of leftists.
For the long haul. So they can take a lot more pain than we can. So it's a short term. So it's a short. The thing is, will the United States expend a lot of their money, a lot of their weapons in this endeavor? Because there's not the United States does not have a limited amount of money or weapons. Okay, they're going to run out. They've already run out of interceptors for the most part. Okay, so the thing is, which is why
again, I don't know why this nigga think that the U.S. can ever run out of ordnance. I don't know why he thinks that shit. You know why he thinks that. And that's the other thing. China does not want to go back to the way they used to live. All of them people and all of them big, pretty neon cities and shit, they don't want to go back to living in the countryside, sweeping the motherfucking ground with brooms made out of sticks.
Trump has tried to engineer ceasefire like 6 times already within these 3 weeks. Okay, behind the scenes, because he thought that the decapitation strike would work within 2 or 3 days. Okay,
I don't know why he keep using that word decapitation strike, but that's also another tendency of leftist agents to come into any immediate platform and repeat the same phrase over and over again. You know, like when they say constitutional crisis and shit, they doing the same thing that the news do.
Somebody would take over, just like in Venezuela, it's more in alignment with what they want to do, and they go on with business as usual. That didn't happen, so now we're stuck, just like we got stuck in Ukraine. I'll land my.
Okay, thank you. Tito, same question. I'll read it back to you. Does the war's oil price spike give Russia and China short-term gains via higher exports, and do those gains outweigh the losses being suffered in Iran in terms of their alliances and what have you?
I think again that with the benefit that it's going to have towards Russia's petroleum ministry, that it actually might be a bit of a short-term gain. Like I said, it might result in some degree of foreign investment in the infrastructure of getting the oil out. You did mention BRI corridors, the Belt and Road thing. I don't think that China is ever going to see that through. I don't think that they ever are going to see that through. A lot of these countries are eventually gonna rebel against that shit. They're not gonna want it in their country. You already starting to see some countries defaulting on the loans and everything. They don't want to deal with the shit. And China's ability to actually project power to try to back up, it is limited. Is limited. So, yeah, BGS says that Chinese people are used to suffering. Um, but there's a difference between the people and the government. The Chinese government is damn near ready to fall. You can actually go online sometimes and you can see Chinese people talking shit about the government, which was something that would have been unimaginable even like 10 years ago. So that's
That been unimaginable in 2017, around
yeah,
2015 to 17 when I was there.
yeah. Now you see them openly talking shit about the government. That's showing you that they losing the grip on power right there. And you actually have people protesting. You have them fashion business was affected a couple of years ago when you had massive labor walkouts. So I don't think that and this brother right here said they only get 5% of their oil from Iran. Yeah, that's true, but they still get a substantial amount of liquid petroleum from them. And as I mentioned before, a lot of people that live in less developed areas rely on that for heating and cooking. So that's the bulk of the petroleum products that they need out of Iran, or out of that area at least. And I'll land my plane there.
All right, well played, Jim. I actually liked both of your answers. Let me read Andre's really quickly. Thank you, Andre, for another five. He said, "What do y'all think?" All right, what do y'all? All right, we'll table that. What do y'all think about Nick Fuentes, Tucker Candace, and the Hodge twins switching up on Trump over the war? Which is actually a good question. Let me let's no, and we'll I'm going to give that to
What the
both of
fuck
y'all
is
in a
funny?
second. Let me just ask this one more question. I actually like both of your answers on that one. Like I said, these are open-ended questions. I have my opinions about things, but I agree with pieces of both of your answers. Let me reset the clock. Give me 1 second. All right. One final question. I'm gonna give it to BGS first too. Now you may not agree with the premise. You may not agree with the premise of
Mm-hmm.
the first part of the premise of this question,
Mm-hmm.
but um, it's in the ether. The question is, why have Russia and China shifted from Iran's diplomatic allies to technological anchors? And could U.S. strikes degrade this axis enough to reshape Middle East power? Granted, it is an open-ended question, and like I said, you may not agree with the premise of the first part of the question.
Okay. Okay. Can you expand on the question because it's open ended, but it's vague?
No, well, with what's going on with
I
the
thought the right word was
denunciation of the
expound.
strikes, what have you,
Mm-hmm.
um, not sending direct, military support, et cetera, et cetera.
Really? Okay.
Well, what you would call it? But there is a tremendous amount of technological support with regard to the AI infrastructure that mostly from
Oh,
China that they're using to fight. Theo and I were talking about that on the last
oh,
tech
okay.
support, which
Okay.
they're using to actually fight the war. But
Okay. Okay. So those hypersonic ship killers that China shipped maybe a month before this stuff went down are not military support. Hmm. Are those cruise?
Why haven't they used them? Everybody keep talking about these wonder weapons and this Robotech and Transformers shit. Why haven't China used these weapons, man? I mean, why haven't Iran used these weapons? Where they at? Where they at?
Cruise missiles that they have. Hmm. Or the drone parts that they
No,
ship. Hmm.
I'm talking about since the incursion, and like I said, having it be that's what I'm saying about diplomatic. This is the conversation that's been going on. It maybe it's back channel or whatnot, but
It is back channel. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that's
I'll,
which
I'll,
is
I'll,
which is
I'll,
my point. Which is
I'll,
my point.
I'll give you an example. In the first time this happened in June, okay, with the incursion, okay.
All right, but
Right.
so you do understand the premise of the
Okay.
question,
I'm guessing at it. Okay. Okay. But the
okay?
thing is, your premise is wrong because if the thing is, just stuff like we do when you send stuff over, okay, all stuff we send over is not recorded in the public media or by contracts, okay. When they ship stuff, it's not always known, okay. Like the first time when the first decapitation strike back in June, right? Didn't work, okay. Right after that, China sent 4 cargo plane loads of cruise missiles on a back channel to Iran.
What's the fastest way to go viral right now?
Dancing? Doing something crazy? Posting 3 times a day?
Nope. That's what everyone's doing. That's why it doesn't work anymore.
Okay then, going controversial? Doing giveaways? Paying for ads?
Still wrong. The fastest way to go viral has nothing to do with...
They've been stocking up missiles and missile parts to Iran for like 2 years, anticipating this very thing. So what do you mean?
Why haven't they used them? They've been stockpiling missiles for 2 years. What? Okay.
So I'm assuming they're still doing it, just not talking about it.
Which speaks to the first part of the question, but okay. Because the question was about the diplomatic appearance on the global stage. Notwithstanding back channels. That was actually the premise of the question. But go ahead, Tito. So I'm sorry. Have you landed your plane?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tito. Same line of questioning.
The fictional. Well, I won't say fictional, but the fantastical Chinese hypersonic, right? Supposedly in 2019 they developed and deployed one. But if they were indeed shipping these weapons to Iran, then why haven't they used them? Since they are like in a fucking existential fight, why haven't they used them? The carriers are right there near Iran. Why not use them instead of using speedboats and AI Asian people on TikTok? Why not actually use the weapons then?
Is that a question?
I don't get it. Yeah, it's a question. Why not use them?
Yeah, okay. Hold on. I think that's part of his rebuttal. Hold on. Wait, are you done? Are you?
No, I'm not done. And furthermore, you know, people talk an awful lot about hypersonics. A few years back, you know, Russia had a hypersonic that actually, you know, was propelled. It had nuclear propulsion that I guess blew across the sky, leaving a wake of you know, radioactive dust as a residue. I don't know how useful a weapon like that would be. But everybody talks about these hypersonics, but nobody has yet to use one, right? So experimental weapons are fine. Every armed force, every country has experimental weapons. But the question becomes, how good are the weapons you have now, right? And I think we got to see a preview of how good the weapons are that Iran has now when they did the B-2 strikes last year. Those were Russian and Chinese radars. Those were Russian and Chinese surface-to-air missile system. They detected nothing and they struck nothing. So I don't know. I will have to wonder as to what the efficacy of these systems are. But in aside to that question about why haven't they used the hypersonic missile that they're supposed to have, is why in the hell they can't develop a modern air force? You know, since the weapons that China makes is so good, why don't they give them airplanes? I'll land my plane there.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go. You ready to rebuttal? It's all yours. Go ahead.
The FITAs that they just hit are hypersonics. Okay. You saw them ripping through Tel Aviv not more than a couple of weeks ago. They just started ripping up Tel Aviv with hypersonics. They've been doing it, man. They demonstrated. The Houthis hit them with hypersonics. Okay. The Houthis themselves hit them with hypersonics. The reason they haven't hit a carrier with a hypersonic is because if they hit a carrier with a hypersonic,
and that's a claim that has yet to be validated. That the Houthis claim that they used a hypersonic missile. They took a shot with a hypersonic missile at a Navy ship, but Apparently they missed. That's a claim that hasn't been validated. But again, let's continue to advertise these Chinese wonder weapons.
Guess what Congress will do? Okay, they're going to escalate. If you really want a war, if you really wanted a real war, okay, you hit one of them carriers with a hypersonic and watch Congress go ape shit, and then you will get a nuclear war. Nobody wants to climb up that ladder.
No,
it's the only reason them ships haven't been.
You won't.
Why do you think? Why do you think them carriers?
You won't get a nuclear war. You won't get a nuclear war.
Sit 1,000 miles away from Tehran because they know they got them. Okay, they've been demonstrated. Okay, Ukraine war, even the smarter hypersonics. Okay, the I forget what they call them. Okay, they were let loose against Ukraine as a demonstration. The Oreshnik, okay, which Putin demonstrated in Ukraine, okay, is a demonstration of the hypersonics. The reason they haven't done the big boys is because if you bring out the big boys and you get into that war, you're gonna get an escalation pattern, and you will see mushroom clouds.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete.
They're trying to prevent that. They're trying to get. Let's go back to the B2 thing, okay? Which, if you follow politics, especially global politics, you know exactly what happened, okay? The decapitation from strike didn't work out. Israel thought they could actually take those hits from Ukraine.
There he go repeating the same shit again. I guess he's trying to brainwash y'all because it wasn't working on me.
When Ukraine started blasting half of Tel Aviv, they begged off. Okay, so they went to Trump and went to Qatar and said, "Can you get us an off ramp? Can you get us a ceasefire?" So the negotiated thing for the ceasefire was to save face. Okay, Iran allowing the B2s to come in and bomb, and then them hitting the base. I think the base was in Qatar or something like that. Okay, that was the off ramp. That was saving face. So those B2s were allowed to come in and bomb that site. Okay, that's how come he gave them a 2 weeks notice so they could whatever was in that site was moved. There was nothing in there by the time they got there. That's why if you're going to bomb a nuclear site and you don't want to move the material, you're not going to announce it 2 weeks ahead of time. So I don't know what kind of geopolitics you follow. I don't. I really don't. Just everybody knew what it was when it happened. Anyway, I don't land my plane.
All right. Well, I just got a follow-up question, just to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
So you're on the. So is it your assertion that Iran is currently winning the war?
I think they're fighting them to a standstill right now. I don't think they're winning the war per se because it's only been what 2.5 weeks. You can't tell who's going to win the war.
But that's what I mean. I mean the military incursion up to this date. You're publicly stating you're of the opinion that Iran has the upper hand right now.
No, I say it's a standstill. Some people say it's have the upper hand, but the thing is, for me, because I'm not an insider like that, I don't know. Okay, because you can't get accurate information of what's happening on the ground. Israel will not tell you.
So you're of the opinion that the death of the Ayatollah and the subsequent chain of command is inconsequential.
Just like if you hit the president of the United States, okay, being consequential, okay, because the chain of command would take over.
Okay.
And so far, I mean, let me ask you that: what has hit the Ayatollah changed as far as this war is concerned, in your opinion?
I'm going to let the debate.
No. You asked the question, okay? A direct question to me. I want a direct answer from you.
Well, you know where I stand. I think we're kicking their ass up.
Okay.
And the word of the day, gentlemen, 2 words: are killed.
You hear this nigga? When you see niggas like this, right? I get it. You have some political animus against President Trump. I get it. But it's almost like y'all got a fantasy about the armed forces beating really bad and the country getting took over. Like, what do you think will happen to you? For all you goofy niggas, oh, they let the black hostages go back in the 70s. You know why they did that? They did that because they were in cahoots with the Soviets, and the Soviets said, yeah, let the niggas go. It worked for us. It'll work for you. Let the niggas go. Because the Soviets have been successfully cultivating an American communist movement over here among black people since 1927, to the point now where most black people are full ass communists. Shit.
Our kill chain. And the words of the day, ladies and gentlemen, a kill chain. We let Mossad do what they got to do. We're going to murder our way all the way down to theocracy until there's nobody left. Let IDF do what they do. They've been itching to get in here and wipe these guys out for like the last 30 years. Put Mossad to work and work your way down the kill chain. It's street shit. Take out the capitals, take out the commission. And like I said, hopefully we can wrap most of this up before they got to report War Powers Act, report to Congress in X amount of days. All right, so let's roll the clock back.
You can't be at a stand. You can't be at a stalemate in a war if you have to have redundancy.
Okay. Man. Oh wait. You're
you can't.
Wait. This is your rebuttal. Yeah, correct?
That's pure fucking insanity. If America was in a war and so many fucking people have been killed that now the fucking Secretary of the Interior is getting sworn in, you can't say that that's a stalemate. You can't. You can't. This is further proof that this is not a normal country that you're dealing with. It's a country that's in the grip of a theocratic cult. This is further proof right here that beyond logic, beyond any concern for their citizens, that they will keep dragging this shit out, right? Because they want to fulfill the dream of an Islamic caliphate. And it's sad to see that right here inside of this very broadcast that we have people that seem to be actively cheering on that end. And I'll land my plane there.
Okay. Do you want to rebuttal that, BGS, or?
It's sad to see. Okay.
Again, I don't know if this is BGS doing this best Kamala Harris impersonation, but you laughing away common sense, nigga. You laughing away common sense. Right? You say that Iran has fought the U.S. to a standstill. Where's the proof? Well, Distant Rose, I'm going to say what I said a couple weeks ago. Distant Rose writes, U.S. can't do shit against Iran without the U.S. Why else did they beg America to join them? They can do something without the United States. Except the way that they would have did it might not have been acceptable. The United States is better at surgical strikes than Israel is. So would you prefer the United States come over there and do surgical strikes where they think, nuclear enrichment is going on, or the assembly of nuclear weapons? Or would you rather Israel just use a mix of conventional and nuclear weapons to solve the issue? Remember, we all got to breathe the same air. Let that be the crux of this whole, we all got to breathe the same air. I'm not defending Israel. I'm not a Zionist, but I like air. I'm practically addicted to it. I don't know about y'all.
inside this.
Wait a minute, Marcus. You talking about this thumbnail? You talking about the thumbnail for this one or the other thumbnail I just put up? Because I'm finna roast the fuck out of Evan Anderson after this. Please understand that. I'm on some Tombstone and Hell is Coming With Me type shit, nigga. When I roast this nigga, this is just a warm-up. This is just a warm-up, man.
Inside this debate, I have that this people are so unknowledgeable. Let's put it that way.
There's no need for ad hominem. You were the one complaining about that. He didn't insult you.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Where did I insult him at?
I responded.
Okay, great. Wait, were you even listening? You haven't taken a single note this entire meeting?
This nigga getting triggered by...
Go ahead. It's yours. Let me reset the time.
Okay. Anything else?
Can I mute the guest mic? Okay. All right, guys, we're at the 1 hour mark.
You want to move on to the next issue?
You want to do the well, he's got to agree to it. He's
got
to agree. He's got to agree to it.
As long as he doesn't get too contentious, I'm fine with it. Okay,
the way he floundering with this shit, he couldn't wait to move on.
I've been doing this Pan-African stuff for like 25 years, so I'm good with it.
Well, to you guys' credit, it's been very freaking civil. So you guys are doing good, by the way. It's been civil.
I'm doing this for you. You know this, man.
It's been civil. It's been civil. It's been good. It's been good. All right, but you got to agree to it. So we're going to pivot from Iran because we talked about this backstage, and you guys want to do Pan-Africanism?
I don't care.
Okay. Go ahead. Tito, you got. Let me reset the clock. Tito, you got 5 minutes. You can put the premise.
I know that, no news. I know that. I don't know where you get your information from. I know. Like I said, it's worse than arguing with your bitch. Because that's the same thing that she said. I don't know where you heard that from. I don't know where you got that from. When you saying some common sense shit.
On the table.
Okay. There is a cultural and political concept that we call. Come on, Distant Rose, man. Look, I understand y'all the contempt that y'all might have for the government of Israel or Zionists. I get it. But please don't think what you just wrote right here. He writes bullshit. Israel doesn't have the capacity, manpower, or the will to fight such a war. Why would they when there's a perfectly good, strong Goy across the Atlantic to do it for them? Do you do realize that they once fought a war against like 5 different countries at the same time, right? I think people kind of forget that. They once fought a war against 5 countries at the same time. So I'm pretty sure that they can deal with fighting a war against one country. And that's all they fucking do in Israel is stockpile weapons and figure out how to build more weapons. Just look at the type of weapons that the IMI produces. Israel Military Industries, the Uzi, the Tavor, the Jericho. They constantly turning out shit from knives and guns all the way up to fucking cruise missiles. They just tested a fucking autonomous fucking tank. Right? They just tested that. So please don't think that they ain't got the weapons or the will to do it. Yes, they do. But I'm again, the crux of my argument here, just like with BGS, is we all have to breathe the same air. Don't lose sight of it. I don't care how bad you don't like Israel. Remember that. Remember that shit. We all got to breathe the same air. And Africanism, that, in my opinion, actually since I was very young, is a collective gaslight towards so-called black people in America that has been engineered by. Yeah, you're right, Luciano. Most niggas, you're right. Most niggas don't know that the Uzi is an Israeli invention. That's all they think about over there is weapons. So please don't think that they don't have the weapons of the shit and they don't fall. They fucking military has been in a constant fucking state of readiness for 80 years now. I don't know why. Please don't think that. Please don't think that. Globalist for us to carry the moral weight of many of the political aims of Black people outside of the country, and we do so at our own expense of time, money, sometimes being physically struck, arrested, what have you. And that for all of the years that Pan-Africanism has existed, it's only seemed to be a tale of a one-way unrequited love by so-called Black Americans towards the rest of the darker parts of the human family. And so the question that I will put to BGS is, can he explain in any way possible how has Pan-Africanism been of any net benefit to so-called Black people here in America? I'll land my plane there.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. First, go to Riverside and open an account. When you're ready to record.
Okay, excellent. I'm restarting the clock.
And mind you, Distant Rose again. I just Googled this while we were sitting here. Distant Rose said that was back in 1973, which lasted 3 weeks and needed heavy U.S. support for it. But I'm telling you, they don't have the capacity to produce these weapons in the quantity needed, even though they spend damn near 9% of their GDP for the military. They defense spending was as of 2024 8.8%. Just to put that in context, 4% of your country's GDP is seen as spending a lot for your military. Straight up, 4% is seen as a lot. 4%. Even look, yeah, you right, Distant Rose. Even if they do rely on the European and support for manufacturing and shit, they have the weapons. It don't matter where the weapons came from. They got that shit. A lot of them. And you talking about the wheel, they can't wait to blow up some shit. A lot of times we have to talk their ass off the ledge. They can't wait to blow up some shit. Trust me, the wheel is there.
BGS, that's all you. You're gonna have to unmute your mic, sir.
First of all, okay, civil rights probably would not have worked as well as it did if it wasn't for the pressure of the African continent and the liberation movements going on there.
Did y'all just hear that? Wait a minute. Did y'all just hear that? BGS just said that civil rights. Wait a minute. Let me hold on. BGS just said that civil rights wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked as well if they didn't have pressure from liberation movements on the other side. He literally just said that, bro. He literally just said that. This man just said, like this man, just in case y'all didn't hear that. Wait a minute. Hold on. This man just said that if it wasn't for the pressure of liberation movements over there, that civil rights wouldn't have worked as well. What the fuck is he talking about? A lot of those movements over there was inspired by our civil rights movement. Do this nigga realize that a lot of the cases and shit that was part of civil rights in the 20th century anyway, that some of that shit was took up in the 40s while all of those African countries were still fucking colonies? Do we understand that? Do he understand that when Eisenhower sent the fucking federal troops to walk with them little girls in Arkansas, well, not little girls, but walk with them black people that was about to go to that high school in Arkansas, do he realize that virtually all of those African countries were still under the direct mandate of Europe? What the fuck is this nigga talking about? This is basic fucking fourth grade history. This nigga, well, whose loose dog is that in the backyard? What you doing back there? Damn, it's a loose dog back here, man. You see that dog, Scotty? Look. See him? Damn. Wonder who dog they. Pretty dog. No news rights. BGS got to be a tether the way he willing to give other folks credit. Maybe, bruh. Even this is the first time I've ever heard anybody say what he just said. That's the first time I've ever in history heard anybody say what BGS just said. I've never heard that anywhere. All the legal action and protests and lobbying and marches and all of that shit far predates the independence movements of African colonies.
It's because Europe eats off of Africa, and the United States gets stuff from Africa. They needed to actually keep it calm, so it does benefit us. Okay, just like Europe benefits white people. Okay, their coalition
nigga just told an outright fucking lie.
Benefits each other. Okay, there's only 40 million of us now. Okay, we're far too small. It's like asking Chinese people, do they benefit from pan-Chinese relationships? Now, this relationship has been sabotaged is because Europe especially does not want African Americans to go over there and start helping to actually develop the continent. Okay, so there's been,
man, Europe wouldn't give a fuck about that shit. And you know why Europe wouldn't give a fuck about that? Europe wouldn't give a fuck about that because at the end of the day, Europe wouldn't give a fuck about that because at the end of the day, Europe knows that they got an inside man in all of them African countries. Europe knows that at the end of the day, they got most of them fucking leaders in their pocket. They wouldn't care how many of these goofy niggas from over here want to come over there and invest and run around and cosplaying dashikis. They laugh at that shit. They don't care about that shit. They know that niggas from America do that shit. They don't give a fuck about that, man. Let's be real. Be real.
There's been blocks, okay, especially with the go at, because I've been over there a couple times, right? There's a whole bunch of blocks that Europe and America puts in between African Americans and Africans.
Like what? Like what? What blocks do Europe? Again, the European powers don't care about that Pan-Africanism shit. They think it's a joke. They probably be like, let them niggas have their fun. Let them niggas have their fun. Who cares? Let them have their fun. Let them niggas have their fun. Let them come over there. Let them go over there and try to buy real estate only to get it repossessed. Let them go over there and get scammed. Let them go over there and get robbed in their hotel rooms. We don't give a fuck. We laugh at it. What they put blocks in between? They can get the fuck out of here.
Okay, to actually develop naturally. But I do believe that a lot of Pan-Africans, because I know a bunch of them, had this fantastical idea about what Africa actually is instead of the realism about what it is. Okay, now a lot of guys had this dream about Africa that actually went over.
Right about that. Mike Andrews. Even Adagun Forrest himself said BGS is not a true Ibmore. Mike Andrews writes, BGS stole Ibmore and was the inside man for black women. Why would anyone trust a person who stole an identity just to grip the space? I have no idea. But he caters to incels. And I hate to say it, but the majority of the space is incels now. As y'all go find out in the next broadcast.
Over there, okay, it's different. Is there opportunities? Yes. Okay, is there a way to actually build something over there? Yes. There's a way to actually go over there and be free and free yourself as a black person that you can't get here. Yes. Okay, there's a bunch of that. There's opportunity. So that's how Pan-Africanism actually does benefit black people. Okay, the nature that you got almost 2 billion Africans on the planet benefits you, because if you like 40 million people all by your little lonesome self with no power, you be up the creek. Okay, so it does benefit you. I'll land my plane.
All right, excellent. You had 3 minutes on the clock as well. Tito, I'm going to let you rebuttal that, but then I'm going to, because I forgot to address Andre's question in the chat. We're going to circle back to the Iran after this, and we'll get right back to this, because I want to make sure I answer Andre's question. He paid $5 for it. You can let me restart the clock, and you can rebuttal BGS's response. Go ahead, all yours.
The standard Pan-Africanist answer, that's exactly what I expected. There are many people. You know what? No, I won't say many people. That's the first time I've heard somebody try to make Pan-Africanism or the struggles for self-determination in other countries like kind of an interlacing affair with civil rights here in America for so-called black people. The issues that they were facing in other countries were more so due from colonialization and the tribalism and the misuse of natural resources by leaders that were connected with people in Europe, whereas our main grievance was the 14th Amendment, and a lot of times the 15th Amendment not being followed through on as promised in 1868. But I don't understand why my colleague would possibly say that Europe didn't want black Americans coming there to help, when actually it's a lot of African leaders themselves that don't want black Americans over there. For instance, the guy who runs Ivory Coast now, Toure, when the Russians gave him money to improve their infrastructure over there and they needed engineers, he actually made a press release that said that he wanted engineers except for so-called black Americans. So I don't know why my colleague and many other people hold on to this anachronistic and outmoded way of thinking, right? The plain facts is that starting in 1953, they began bringing these Africans over here to replace us. And a lot of people still haven't woke up to that fact. They began bringing these Africans here to replace us. And I've always mentioned the legacy Democrats that have been entrenched in Washington as an administrative class ever since the Roosevelt and the Truman administrations. And they sold it to Ike's administration as a way to extend Western influence in West Africa. And they bought it, and then they started bringing these people here. And ever since then, they've been showing these people favoritism. Even Muhammad Ali remarked that in his early career, when segregation was still a thing in many parts of this country, that he wasn't allowed to go in certain hotels and restaurants, but he would see them gesture and let Africans in, saying, no, that's not a nigga, that's an African, right? So if these African people were so politically so in unison and in terms of morality and everything with so-called black people, then they wouldn't accept privileges like that. But we all know that they do. Even to this very day, you can find the Caribbean Services Organization right there in the middle of Harlem, and they can go there and get free health care, they can go there and get free legal aid, they can go there and get cars and everything, things that aren't ever extended to so-called black people. And I've said many times before that they showed y'all the Cosby Show in the 80s, but they was actually really handing that to African people. See what Marcus just said? Competition, not camaraderie. He ain't never lied. Shit. So we can't say that there's any such thing as Pan-Africanism if black people from all around the world are willing to come here and accept such massive handouts at the deprivation of so-called black people from the country, and then tell us, gaslighting us, of course, how they just work hard and save money. And I'll use the Somalians as an example, and I'll land my plane there.
Well played. Would you like to rebuttal your colleague, BGS?
It's unlike certain people. I've been over there a couple times. Okay, I'm embedded with.
There's the reflexive appeal to sophistication. I've been over there. I learned this. I took this class. I got some type of experience that gives me automatic authority in this field. The typical BGS bullshit.
With the Pan-African community, I'm embedded with these people. Okay, they asked for us. Okay, which Colin Powell asked to send black soldiers for AFRICOM to the Sahel.
I never heard of what the fuck he talking about. Matter of fact, I don't even think AFRICOM exists when Colin Powell was still in the military. Did Colin Powell ask for black troops for AFRICOM? Oh, okay. It said that he did ask for black troops specifically for an African mission. Okay. We give him that one. But AFRICOM, I don't think it exists. I don't. Matter of fact, no, it didn't exist. It didn't exist until Obama. I told you this nigga need memory care.
Okay. Europe and white people denied that request. Okay, they asked for us. They didn't. I remember telling them back in 2007, 2008. Okay, they didn't want the Chinese to come in and develop. They said, "How come y'all can't come in and do it? We don't want them. We don't trust them." Or how about the rest? We don't trust them either. We want black people that look like us to have to come in and help us. They asked for us. I know that.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't want black Americans over there. They let Chinese literally slap them around and get them neck respect. They don't want black people over there. They do not want American blacks over there. The same way they don't want you marrying their daughters, the same way they come over here and tell you ain't got no culture. And you know what? This nigga so dumb that this is the only reason that I even want to do this debate, so I can catch him up in what he's stepping his foot in right now.
Because they told me to my face. And we're not talking about little cab drivers on the street. We're talking about officials. They're running for freaking president. They asked for us. So I don't know what your Pan-African deets are. Okay. I don't know what your experience is, but I've been 30 years in the game. And I've had people like Dr. Marifa, who is Kenyan, who is a globalist, okay, who is a global elite, okay. I asked him, Dr. Marifa, if I'm lying, please tell me why I'm wrong, right? He agrees with that because he deals with this stuff all the time. And a lot of stuff that you hear me say and him say has been echoed through their voices, okay. I don't know what you're reading. Anyway. I'll land my plane.
Well played, sir. Tito, would you like to rebut?
Yeah, it's called reality. All over Al Gore's internet, you can see people in Kenya saying they don't want passport bros to come to their country. You can see many media platforms that's ran by, these tethers that are very critical of so-called black men. You can see many crimes perpetrated, like the lady that worked at McDonald's stabbing her supervisor to death with the that lived with the white boy with the hard wig. Um, like the woman that was working at the nursing home that was twerking on top of a patient's head. You can see the crimes.
Getting hard and getting turned on are not the same thing.
That is why Blue Chew Gold was created.
Science shows that arousal.
I guess if they can tell that they commit of a certain age against so-called black people, I just don't understand why people still think that Pan-Africanism exists when there's much evidence to the contrary. And another thing, you can see how these women, particularly dark-skinned Afro Hispanic women and African women, how angry they are once they get here and they realize that the dating market doesn't work out in their favor, especially because they can't get a white man. So the first thing that they do is they vent their frustrations by talking shit about black men, right? Some of the people that us as manosphere content creators have to refute a lot of their claims, like Chrissy, like Share 7, are groups of these black people that are from outside of foundational black Americans that we have to come online every day and combat their propaganda. So when you take appraisal of all of that, I don't see how in the hell that anybody can entertain any notions that such a thing as Pan-Africanism still exists in 2026. I just don't. And I'll land my plane there.
Okay. Hold on for a second. BGS, would you like to?
I don't know.
Would you like to respond?
Where does dating get into all of this? Okay. The thing is, I know it's because we're involved in it. Okay. The Chinese did not want to develop you. Okay. The only reason the Chinese has to develop you is because they allowed Gaddafi to get whacked. Okay. And for them to actually continue Belt and Road for it to actually work, they needed Africa.
Where dating comes into this is that when you see a lot of these negative videos that are disseminated about so-called black men, major contributors are these black African women and these Afro Hispanic women, like I'm telling you. So that flies in the face of this fucking bullshit ass fictional fairy tale Pan-Africanism shit that you're talking about. If y'all want to, brother, if you want to believe that they don't have any nuclear weapons, if they help y'all sleep better, whatever, man, that's cool. But I think that they do.
That's how we got the East African corridor. Okay, because we told them, I said, if you don't help start putting money and infrastructure into the continent, they're not going to trust you, and I don't blame them. That's how we got built. Chinese had no choice. They didn't want to give Africans an on ramp to develop, to be the
nigga. The Chinese came over there for their own selfish gain. Thank you, Marcus. They don't want the Chinese there. So how are they there? Did they invade? No, they didn't invade. They invited the Chinese in. And the Chinese are building shit over there in exchange for natural resources and the ability to have another market to sell things in. It's common fucking sense. It's common sense.
The next global power, they didn't want to do that. They had no choice. Okay? But it took black people from America to actually help convince the Chinese to actually do this shit. In their own best interest. It actually turned out to be a winner for them. But they didn't want to do it. Okay? I know I've been deeply embedded in this stuff for the last 30 years. The thing is, If you got the details and you got the documents and you got the people, man, pull them up.
Again, Davidson Michael writes nuclear deterrence, though, right? So even if there were nuclear weapons that someone else had, our nuclear weapons would deter them from firing on us. Not necessarily. Not necessarily a country like Iran. I'm telling y'all, whatever y'all think about normal diplomacy and foreign policy, throw that shit out the window when you talking about dealing with Iran.
Other than that, all I'm getting is opinions. I'll land my plane there.
Thank you, sir. Tita, would you like to offer a rebuttal?
Yeah, it's a lot of opinions out there. It's an opinion that you in a kata. It's an opinion that you have no culture by multiple content creators that are from those countries some of those same countries that you're trying to defend. I don't know why. There's an opinion that you're a dirty Black American. There's plenty of opinions out there. And all of the opinions out there say that compared to all of those people from those countries, that you're less than human. You're not civilized. You don't have a culture, or they want to know where your family is from. Yeah, you're right. There's plenty of goddamn opinions out there, but I don't know how you still don't see the writing on the wall. You sitting here right now carrying water for people that don't give a fuck about you and wouldn't piss on you to put you out if you was on fire. And I don't understand it. The government brought these people here to replace you. And it seems like that you are so caught up in leftist orthodoxy that you can't recognize it. Now land my plane there.
Okay, BGS, would you like to offer a rebuttal?
The thing is, you comparing a million immigrants to a billion people, okay, on the continent, okay, and the people that actually matter.
And the people on the continent say the same thing. Or is he gonna pretend like it just wasn't a whole bunch of dirty, musty ass Kenyans a couple of months ago talking about we don't want passport, bro, come here. They are disrespecting our women. He gonna pretend like that never happened, right? Fuck up out of here. That's on the continent, right?
Actually run the freaking governments. Okay? That's what you're comparing it to. We talk to the people that matter. The people that actually determine determines what goes on the ground. That's who the people we talk to. We don't talk to the. I'll give two craps about some chick that has a white man fantasy coming over here with mad because she can't get a white man. Okay, that's been around since what 1700.
Yeah, but those are the ones that are getting online influencing Black American women, though, nigga. Or is he gonna sit here and pretend like Sheriff 7 don't exist? Or is he gonna pretend like media takeout don't exist? See, talking to this is literally like talking to a fucking brick wall. And this is why I hate even having a discourse with this nigga. And he understands what he's doing. And trust me, I had a headache after this shit was done from sitting there trying to, okay, which bullshit ass talking point do I answer? Which lie do I answer? Which gaslight do I answer? Right? You know what? I'm gonna go ahead. We got like 40 more minutes left on this live, but I still gotta prepare for my roast to Edward Anderson. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, man. Be back here in about 40 minutes, man. I'm going all in on Edward Anderson, man. It's been a Black Pill PSA, man. Peace.
About Black women feeding for